Hi, fashion dolls. It is Thankful Thursday, July 13th, and welcome back to an all new episode of Style by Stevie. You guys can see I have a different look today. Our very special guest today, our first very special guest today, has been on the show previously, and we are here to catch up with him for his second interview to see what he's been up to. Also joining us, we have Nathaniel Bryan Anderson, who's going to be joining us at 4. I feel a little overdressed for this interview, but it's a hot girl summer, so it is definitely worth it. I'm loving the gray. I wanted to do something different because I did blonde the second part of this week, and then the previous week I did the black with the caramel highlights. So shout outs to Melanie Nella My Bridges for making sure that we are right. It is definitely officially a hot girl summer, and I think this is the perfect dress to wear for today's interview. So without further ado, let's welcome our incredibly talented special guest, model, influencer, Whitt, ladies and gentlemen. Toot, toot, toot. Hey, hello.
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Um, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome. Happy
Happy
Thursday.
Thursday.
How has all been since we last spoke? Because the last time we spoke was in 2022.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, wow. Time is going. Time is breezing by. I can tell, huh? No, things have been going great. I just been really trying to refocus on a lot of things, and um, which is a blessing. I'm definitely blessed. I think so many people who have supported me throughout this whole crazy, insane journey that I never
Yeah.
ever would have thought that I still would be doing what I'm doing so many years later on. I just hit a milestone birthday this past February. um,
Yes.
yeah, so I turned 50, and that was absolutely something phenomenal. I'm not on wood. Thank God I'm still here. Thank God I'm still able to be doing what I'm doing. um, I started working in a different with a different age group of students. I work in education by day, and do this whole modeling thing at night, like a superhero, I guess, if you want to call it. But I started to actually employ high school students. So I have about 90 students that I actually employ at a high school, which is absolutely phenomenal. Which also made me sort of refocus and sort of shift my whole mindset in terms of what I want to do moving forward. And but since then, like I said, I've been just grinding it out. Still, I love doing my photo shoots. I love connecting with so many inspirational, creative, talented, you name it, people. Still doing fashion shows and stuff like that. I don't. I think that I will stop doing it when my heart says enough is enough, and it has not said that. And I'm gonna just keep on, pushing through because I still love this industry. I love, doing what I do despite whatever, negative comments I may get, or, what a hater may say, or what people assume that I can't do or I shouldn't do, blah, 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 blah. I'm still going to do my damn thing as my parents would always want me to do.
And how do you, that was going to be my question for you. How do you deal with it when you get the negative comments? Because when you hit 50, like I'm about to be 30 this October,
God bless
how do you deal with it and move forward? What advice would you give to someone who is, pushing 50, going into their 50s,
you. Right.
walking into their 50th bath and dealing with the negativity? What advice would you give them?
I would say, just hold on, let me just shift my light a little bit. Just continue. I mean, I'm really shocked that I actually dealt with this whole milestone thing, because, in this particular industry, look for everything, right? I mean, I would lie to you and sit there and say that it's not like I don't, stress what I look like, whether it's physically or even like, mentally. I think people don't understand that it's also a mental thing because if you're not up here in the head, in terms of knowledgeable of what you're supposed to look like, being dedicated to my fitness, being dedicated to my whole body image, let's say, but it also starts in the brain, right? So
Yeah.
I think that's definitely vital. But I'm shocked that I could have sworn that I was going to actually deal with it a little harder turning 50. You know, was I afraid back in the days? Of course. You know, I'll lie to you and sit there and say that, oh, I was not, you know, never, I had never had an issue turning getting older. Yes, I did. When I hit 30, I really went through a whole crazy phase in my life. I wasn't where I thought that I should have been based off of how I was raised and what everyone else said or assumed that I should be. And then when I got over that, when I got over people's voices in my head, it took a minute. But it literally came to a point where one day I'm just like, you know, something, fuck it. Pardon my French. Um, they're not controlling my life. They're not in my pockets. You know, at the end of the day, it's all about me, right? So if
Yeah.
I continue living my life worrying about what someone else is going to, people are going to say something about me until the day I die. I can't do nothing about that. When people think about me or say something negative or have a negative comment consistently, then obviously I must be doing something right if I'm in their head. You know what I mean? So I took it from a negative thing and I sort of try to spin it around into something positive. And then turning this particular age, I said, you know something, I have two options. I can either sit here and cry and complain, saying that I'm old and my life is over or whatever the situation is, I'm over the hill. One, do I feel it? No. Two, do I look it? I don't think so. And if I did, oh well. But nowadays, not even nowadays, we don't know what an age will look like. We don't know what 30 should look like. Who says that? It's however we are. So if someone's 21, that's how they look at 21. If someone else is 21, that's how they look at 21. So how
Hmm.
a particular age, how you're supposed to look, to me, that's just a bunch of bullshit. You're going to look the way in which you put in. Whatever you put in is what you're going to sort of be get out. And hitting 50, I had to, I literally said, you know, and I feel amazing. I'm in a good place in my life. I feel comfortable. I feel confident. I'm healthy. Why am I bitching? What's there to complain about? If anything, I should celebrate this. And that's exactly what I did. And I'm really proud of myself for not allowing a lot of voices in my head, is, you know, to sort of get me to stunt any of that. I definitely wanted to push through and say, you know, at the end of the day, I love me. You know what I mean? And it took me a long time to actually say that to myself. And when I started saying it even more, the rest was history.
And you go into it boldly. You don't care. You don't look at, and you do stay fit. You stay in the gym, and we follow that.
I
What
have,
advice, yes, would you give to someone who's looking to stay in tune with themselves and centered, and more importantly, healthy?
um, do it. At the end of the day, you know, it's all about, you know, I tell my students this all the time. You know, they come and they're like, oh, so you know, what do I have to do to get this, that, and the third? What do I have to do to, you know, get a bigger chest or, you know, to be
Right.
more fit? I'm like, what do you have to do is just do it. To me, there's no, you know, and I know that sounds to, you know, to a lot of people, you know, they expect this miracle answer. You know, they expect this scientific, you know, terminology or what have you, or definition. There, to me, there is none. You know, I get my ass up. Some days I literally can go to bed, and I'm kid you not, you know, after partying the night before, getting an hour of sleep, getting up and actually spending an hour to an hour and a half in the gym. You know, my mind and my body is just conditioned like that, you know, but I do it because it's what I want to do. And to me, if you want to do something, there's no one can tell you how to do it. Only you know that. Only the person actually knows, you know, what they have to do in order to get what they have to get, right? They have to know what they have to do in order to make anything happen. And to me, it's just getting your ass up and making it happen. And then also, you know, understanding your body. And, you know, again, you know, a lot of people assume that, you know, of course you can read a book. Of course you can get a lot of scientific terminologies about, you know, well, this, you know, diet is great for you. This exercise will do this, that, and the third. Of course. But at the end of the day, I think people have to really get in tune with knowing their body, knowing what foods, let's say, would affect your stomach. You know, like for instance, I've learned like right now, I can't even eat garlic anymore. I don't know, and that started happening, and mind you, it started happening progressively, when which, you know, I would get bloated, I would get a stomach ache, and didn't even sort of put two and two together until I had to just stop and say, wait a minute, there's something affecting me, obviously. So let me just do the, you know, let me just start understanding, if I eat this, what's this going to do? You know, I can't do avocados can't do, um, milk, of course, I can't do. But again, once I started to understand my body and knowing what affects it, intake wise and outtake, the rest was just it was easier. You know what I mean? And then and and then from there, I was able to sort of put things together and sort of just be more aligned with things, which makes my fitness much easier now because I know what affects me. I know what workouts I should focus on to get bigger arms or to get a bigger chest. Back in the days, my dad would always tell me. I used to run to him like, Dad, I want a bigger chest like my brother. What do I have to do? He said, push-ups. I'm like, huh? No, you're supposed to lift weights and bench press 305 pounds. He goes, nah, brother, you do push-ups. He goes, you're using your own body weight. If you can't lift your own body, you're weak. And I'm like, huh? What are you talking about? Because again, I was going into what people were telling me and what, other people were doing, but not really understanding what should I be doing. But it's basic science. If you can't lift your own body, what does that tell you? You know what I mean? So once I started getting more in tune with understanding my body, understanding myself, and that does take time. Does it happen overnight? Absolutely not. But it's something that we all should focus on and understand. Like, same thing with friends. Like what people I should hang out with. You know what I'm saying? So it's no different. But I think it's people actually doing that research within themselves. The rest trickles down, and it's yeah.
And not only that, but changing your lifestyle, changing your surroundings. Even for me, I've learned that I've had to
Oh
change
yeah.
certain things that I've eaten, being in my
Uh
30s.
huh.
And to anybody out there, I suffer with reflux. And that's something that people do not understand. I've kept quiet about it, but yes,
You're letting
I
the cat
too
out the
have.
bag now.
So, yes. And I've had to change certain things, change the way I eat certain things, all to be healthy. I'm like, I want to be around for a long time.
Absolutely. And yeah, people don't. Yeah, that's same thing here. Especially when I see, things. They do say things do get better with age. I can definitely attest to that. That's definitely the truth. I feel so much more. Um, how can I say just comfortable, and it's a blessing. You know what I mean. Like I feel comfortable. I don't stress as much as I used to because I realize that for what I'm the maker and shaper of my life, and if I'm not doing shit about it other than complaining or whatever like that, or making or waiting for someone else to come and be my Captain Save-A-Ho, then that's wrong. I have to be my own captain, saver, hoe, because I'm the hoe that has to be, saved. But also, exiting negative people out of my life. I've recently, had to cut out particular friends that I considered family just because no bueno wasn't good for me.
Same.
And when I had to realize, something, when at the end of the day, if is this person more a detriment than anything else, and why am I tolerating a person who doesn't really have my back at the end of the day, who who could be envious or whatever the situation is, but it's not easy cutting people that you consider. I don't call everyone family.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't use those words loosely, and I see too many people doing that, saying, "Oh, this is my brother, this is my sister," and yet it's still. And then tomorrow they have another brother and another sister. I don't use those words. I'm very much. I have an old school mindset in which it takes a lot for me to call someone family because that means a lot to me. You know what I mean? So when I have to go and sort of distance myself from family or particular people out of my life, that wasn't an easy thing for me to have to deal with. But at the end of the day, I got to do what's best for me and make sure that something. If you don't have my best interest, I ain't got time for it at all. So that was another phase of things happening this year. Like I said, my whole focus is all about. I have a big ending focus that I definitely want to accomplish and move towards. I definitely want to start at some point. I want to have like my own agency and not just it be about. Of course, modeling will be a part of it, but I definitely want the whole fitness mindset embedded into it. But also, it's all about mind, body, and soul, and sort of take a lot of inspiration from the youth for the this current youth for tomorrow.
Yeah.
That 17 to 19 or 21-year-old population that really don't have a lot of guidance because they are very entitled. They they're from a school where in which everything's given to them. Where in which I'm from a school where in which no, we work for everything that we got, and we continue to work for everything we got. So I want to sort of have something where which I'm showing them. Listen, one, be a little more self-sufficient, be a lot more proactive, but also you have people out here who can sort of show you the ropes that at the end of the day know what they're doing because they bust their ass and they put in the freaking hard work. Even when I started modeling, I thought I could never do this shit. I thought I was too short. I have a lisp, I have a gap, I have this, I have that. And at the end of the day, I said, fuck it. I didn't have no one sit there and sort of hand me something. I did the research. I went out there. Harassed people. I asked questions. Made myself a nuisance with a photographer saying, listen, I love your work. I would love to work with you. And no, 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 no. Okay, whatever. Well, whereas there's one no today, there's going to be one yes at some point. And, I put in the footwork. I had no sleep. I bust my ass in the gym at a later age. And I started all this stuff like in my mid 30s. So it wasn't like I was like 17 and I was discovered down the block. Nah, I worked my ass off. And, even competing with other dudes that are like 20 years my junior, it wasn't an easy thing. But I did it with grace because at the end of the day, okay, whatever. You may be 21 and I may be freaking 41, but at the end of the day, we both here. You know what I'm saying? So I never let that stop me. If anything, that gave me more of the fight to want to push harder. And that's exactly what I, do. And this is why I want to have this agency in which I want to sort of show this to other people that listen, this should be the focus. This could be your focus. And you have people out here who can show you the ropes, who at the end of the day know what they're doing, and they want to do it as opposed to just, just for this. Of course, we all want to make money, but I definitely want to be able to be impressionable in someone's life as well.
And that's something that I wanted to talk with you about because we kind of covered it last week on the show, which is ageism.
Right.
You've been in the industry for a long time. You're a vet in this industry. You've been
Thank you.
modeling and directing these shoots and giving us stunning photography. There is age thing going on in the modeling world. And I know you guys seen the trailer. I posted it in my stories not too long ago where the OG supermodels, you had Lindy Evangelista,
Right.
Cindy Crawford, Christy Turlington, and Naomi Campbell, and they are doing this documentary on supermodels. And these women they were the it supermodels of the 90s.
Absolutely.
And till this day, people are still talking about how iconic they were. Their covers are Vogue. I have almost every one of their covers are iconic. What advice would you give to upcoming models to have longevity in this business? Because we know there is an age thing as well too for the industry.
Right.
We're seeing that shift where models they're saying, it's never too late to follow your dreams and
Absolutely.
go after them.
Right. I think my advice would always be, it's that old school mentality. I always say that, God bless my mother, she passed away a few years ago, but, both my parents, taught me something. I came from a two-family household. Both my
Mm,
parents, went to college. Both my parents had good jobs. They put us through, great schools. But at the end of the day, I still lived in the hood. You know what I'm saying? So there's something about, having a street mentality that I tell my students all the time, it's watching how people move. So I think in order to sustain something, you have to know how to move and know that things are not limitless, and
mhm.
always know that, or always try to find pockets to see some type of progression. So let's say, for instance, I always wanted to be a model, So I once I conquered that, once I was able to conquer that, and conquering that, I consider having my first professional photo shoot, because that's all I wanted was to be photographed. It wasn't about, I want to be on Billboard. I just wanted to be photographed. I love taking pictures. I knew I had something in me that I had a talent in it. I knew that. I didn't care what no one else said, and I had no one stop me because I knew at some point in my life, before I end this earth, I was going to accomplish at least that one goal. And once I was able to do that, I started reading the streets and reading people and seeing how people move and seeing, wait a minute, if this boy over here is getting X, Y, and Z, why am I not? What am I doing wrong? You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So once I started reading the room and seeing how people move, seeing the game, seeing the bullshit, seeing all that stuff, and knowing which way to, how to bob and weave certain things, that made me sustain. And then with that, I saw other avenues. I saw other pockets. From there, I was able to publish my first book. I did 2 years ago during COVID. I never thought I wanted to do that years ago when I started. That was never even in my brain. But when I started seeing the different pockets started to open up, I never thought about an agency. Never thought about even being in a runway show or connecting with and collaborating, being a brand ambassador and all this stuff. And all this stuff was never even an option in my head because I never even thought about it. But when I started seeing pockets and seeing, wait a minute, This is another pocket. That's another pocket. This is another pocket. This person is in this pocket. Wow, this is something very interesting. That always makes, to me, that provides longevity because it makes it limitless, which means there, if there's a pocket today, there's going to be other pockets tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even know how many other pockets I could find next year, if so. I call it pockets. I don't know another term for it to use. So, pardon me. But yeah, it's just finding other avenues. And once you start seeing other avenues, then it becomes limitless. And that's what, to me, has made me sustain this time. I've been doing it for like over 12 years. And consistently, I've never took off, like, let's say, 3 years from modeling and just completely stopped photo shoots. I've been doing it from when I started to now, and I never had. It felt so seamless and so just smooth. And I'm not trying to brag because that's not. I'm not that dude whatsoever. But it's a fact. Like I've never really went through anything. Of course, I've had. I've met some people that were sort of crafty or sketchy or whatever like that. But again, I know how to move. I wasn't raised like I'm not a dummy. Yeah, I can defend myself. So there was never an issue. I never felt like oh my God, I'm in threat. Oh my God, I can't get out the situation. I know how to move. And again, it's always once you find different avenues within something that you enjoy, then just because you may enjoy this, but if you're in that pocket, then there's other avenues within that pocket that can sort of branch you out like a tree, but all under that same umbrella, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's that longevity. You have like these big time 90s supermodels that have been doing this for years. Part of my dog, someone's ringing my bell. At any rate, you have all these big time models that have been doing, this for years. You see how they branched out to doing other things, but still within that same umbrella. So again, finding different avenues and different pockets and something that you enjoy will have you sustain for such a long time.
And the
Gucci,
last
stop.
time you, Troy V says, right, preach. The last time
Thank you,
you were
Troy.
here, you also talked about something that was powerful as well too, which is the body image issue.
Oh,
And
mhm.
we've seen the photography that you've given us for body image issues. What advice would you give to someone on that? Because I know that is a thing that people still to this day talk about, which is body issues.
Yeah.
People a lot have insecurities within their bodies, and I know I'm one of those people. I
Oh, yeah,
struggle
I
with
was
it
too.
too, but I've learned to gain my confidence into my own. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, I've struggled. I suffered from body dysmorphia for so many years. And again, I come from a household in which I lived in the shadow of like my older brother, who's like 2 years older than me, and he's
yeah,
amazing. But he was the fitness model. He's 6'5", and I'm over here short and stocky, and I always didn't feel I didn't feel completed. I felt as though I was fat. I felt as though that I allowed my image the portrayal the way I portrayed my image, I allowed that to sort of factor my life, which wasn't good, and it could have killed me. I went from like 216 pounds to like 130 pounds overnight.
yeah,
And it got to the point where I had to go to the doctor, and the doctor's like, "You're killing yourself." And it wasn't, it was like my sister-in-law who sort of woke me up when she saw me turn down food, and she actually saw me sort of suppress a lot of things, and she saw like how I was dealing with my food, like physically. And she came to me and she was like in tears, and she's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And when that that sort of woke me up. And then when I started modeling, it was my way of I think it was my initial way of me dealing with the whole body dysmorphia. Hence why I do a lot of nudity. I feel as though um, I love my body now. Of course, I don't believe in something when people say a perfect body. I don't believe in that. I think that's very passe. I think it's much bullshit. Because there's nothing
yeah.
perfect. Because we're always going to keep trying to fix something, whether it's physical or not. So, and that's just a fact. But I wanted to show. I think the best way for me to deal with it was to put myself out there physically, was for me to showcase my body because since I suppressed it for such a long time, I think my mental psyche was like, okay, you want to model, but you want to model this way, to sort of bring it out, which is weird. You know what I mean? I never understood it, but then I didn't understand it initially. I didn't know I was doing it until it just sort of clicked. I'm like, wow, wow. And the funny thing was that I was able to, be photographed by someone else nude, but I couldn't look at myself in the mirror nude, which was weird. And when I realized that, I'm like, that's a problem. So had to do that whole thing within myself, in which I have a full, I have many full length mirrors in my house, um, but I had to literally strip down and just look at myself and just stand there for like 5 minutes and just look at myself. And when I put my head down the first time, I'm like, yeah, that's not good. I got to get over this shit. And I literally I like talking to myself, telling myself, giving myself encouragement. Put your head up, Dion. Put your head up. Put your head up. This, that, and the third. And I did it. And once I did it, it was such a hard experience, but it was so powerful, and it helped me a lot. So much. Which another thing that I'm working on is actually writing a book on body dysmorphia. The name will be called Solace and Concealed, because we seek solace, you seek comfort in something. Concealing it, of course, you're hiding it. So I want to tell a bit of my story, but put my own spin on it. But I want to write something, and I was an English major in college. I love writing. English is to me is important. But I definitely want to write something because I think a lot of people out there, one needs that. You know what I'm saying? And people not just my age, people again. I have students that suffer
Yeah.
from body dysmorphia. A lot of men, a lot of African American men do, but we don't talk about it. So I definitely want to bring something to the forefront that is sort of not spoken about. A lot of females probably talk about it. I think more than men. Not saying men don't. There's a lot of men out here who's brought it to the forefront. But I think a lot of us needs to do that more, and definitely get something out there that other people can sit there and say, "Wow, wow, wow." You know what I mean? So that's what I'm working on, and the reason why I'm taking my time with that. 'Cause I don't want to put an end date on it. I don't want to give myself a timeline, only because this is something that I've never sort of really touched at this particular level, and I'm going to need time to see how I definitely am going to do it, because again, it's therapy for me as well, and I still go through it. You know what I'm saying? I still wake up some days when which let's say for instance, if I skip the gym, and I give myself 2 days off from the gym because physically our body needs to rest in order for it to grow. Duh, right?
Yes.
But when I do that, I in my head mentally I still go through drama. Like I'm not gonna front. Like if I eat one meal, I'm like, oh shit, it's gonna and well, I don't think I ever will be 100%ly cured. I won't. And something, I'm fine with that because I don't think you're supposed to be, to a certain extent, if that makes any sense. Because I think what this also does is make me work harder for me not to turn back into the old Dion, not to turn back into that old person. So it's still being there in some way, shape, or form sort of puts me in some weird focus. And I know that sounds weird, but that's how I have learned to deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Like I will never be 100% cured from it. And when I have told people, spoken to people about it, they look at me like I'm stupid. They're like, "What you model? And look at your pictures on Instagram. And you're so this, that, and the third." I said, "Yeah, but one that has a, that you, it, they don't understand. They don't understand. You know what I'm saying?" And for me, sometimes I have to get into a long conversation for them to understand. So I'm like, yeah, I have to write something. I have to write something because I think there's a lot of people who probably suffer from it, and not just that. This helps me in any me talking about even now. This is therapy. I'm a
Mm.
firm believer, and like I said, I tell my students all the time when they come to me with drama. Oh, my friend did this to me. I'm like, have you spoken to your friend? Well, no. I said, but you could tell me, you could tell her, you could tell this person, that person, but you haven't told the source. I don't understand that. And they all do. They all do the same shit. I'm not like that. I'm very much. I go right to the source. I don't have no time to be going left. There's no time for that. There's no time for that. I like getting stuff done, in and out, and I'm done. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
So to
on
me,
the same
talking
page.
about this particular issue is my therapy because I don't talk about it every single day. You know what I'm saying? So and we still suppress. I still suppress it at times, but this is therapy. So I thank you even for giving me this outlet to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if one person or two people chimes in to listen to this conversation. I'm glad that I'm able to have a conversation with you or with someone, just getting that out because again, it's therapy for me. So I thank you. I really appreciate that. So thank you very much.
And Troy is really showing you so much love in the comments. Troy said this comment right here. Wait, I hope you read this one. D is one of the most gorgeous inside
Oh,
and
wow.
outside people you will ever come across. His heart is much bigger than his looks. And
Wow.
that is funny.
God bless you, Troy. I love you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Troy's amazing. He's amazing. He's amazing. Again, I think in this whole journey, I've been very fortunate. I knock on wood every freaking single day, man. I've met some beautiful souls, literally. And male models, photographers, stylists, fashion designers, creative directors, you name it. But having a camaraderie with another fellow model, I think it's so important because this is a tough industry. It's not easy.
Yeah.
You know, anything that I think a person does that has a physical connotation associated with it will be hard because you're being judged. You know what I'm saying? We put ourselves out there. You know, I put myself out there. As you guys know, I put myself out there a lot. But you know something? I love it, and I'm gonna continue to put myself out there more. What? Nah, but this is me. I don't. There's no shame in my game. I love myself, and I love what I do. I don't put myself out there to shame no one else. I'm not doing it to try to brag about anything else. You know, me posting the workout videos not to brag or to show off. It's me to show that my ass is putting in fucking work, and you damn right. I'm showing off the work that I put in, and I think people should do that. You put in something that you feel proud of, show it off. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if a person takes that and goes, "Oh my God, it's too much," then don't look at it. It's simple to me. Now, if I can see if people do it and they put comments about somebody else, that's different. But we don't do that. You know what I'm saying? So I will continue doing that until I can, until I can. I love posing nude. I think the human body, like I think we spoke about this briefly before, but if not, the human.
Yeah.
When I started posing nude for the professional artists, um, I took nudity in I looked at it in a completely different way. When I had artists come up to, when I had like 13 different artists sort of depict me in a different medium, I was blown away. You had some who drew me as abstract. You had some who drew me true to form. I was a cartoon character one day. I was a fucking spot one time. But in that person's eyes, I was Dion. You know what I'm saying? So when I started seeing how they looked at the chest and the curvature of the back and the angles and the shapes, I took nudity in a different way. It's not just me standing up there with my dick out, part of my French. You know what I'm saying? Like it was about it's art. So hence why I do a lot of posing implied and nude because I love my body. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm a sexual person. That ain't gonna change. Of course, it's part of it as well. I'll be lying to you saying that's not. Of course, that is. But the major part of it is that I think the human body is beautiful, and I think people should embrace it, and people should enjoy it. People enjoy looking at it, so I'm gonna give them something to look at.
Right. And you're getting so much love. You've got photographers coming in here. JR Christian Studio. James B. House says I had the opportunity to work with this incredible being, and D
Wow.
is so much more than a sexy body. He is a super intelligent person, and that
Thank you
is
so
from
much.
James.
Thank you. Oh my God, you guys are making my heart like just go crazy. You guys are. I mean, it's to me. Anytime you work with a photographer, or even a fellow model, it's a team effort. You know what I'm saying? It's. I always say that. Listen, I'm just I'm just the piece right there. But I've met some. When I tell you beyond phenomenal, just creative, insanely creative individuals that sort of push their talent to another level or take their talent to another level. To me, that's so much. I and it's never about money. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never. If I love working with dope people, and most of it, I don't get paid for these photo shoots. Modeling is not my income driven career at all. It's something that I enjoy doing. It's you know what I'm saying, and it's a part of me. It's a part of my life that I've taken. I felt as though I've taken it to a different medium for myself, and I'm glad that I did that. I'm glad that I was able to meet like a J.R. Christensen or Michael Kraft or what have you, or a Troy. You know what I'm saying? I'm fortunate and I'm blessed to have met people like this because they've pushed me to become a better professional model. You know what I'm saying? And I anyone who's uber talented like that who would hit me up and say, listen, I have this dope concept about a photo shoot, and I'm like, yes, let's do it, and then get into their brain and seeing like their mindset. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It really is phenomenal. So again, I uberly thank them. I mean I can't thank them for so much. I mean because it's they just dope. This is dope. This is dope.
And I'm gonna go back for a minute because you said I don't mind showing off my body. It's to me, it's about confidence. If you are confident, if you are in tune with who you are, because before I kind of said something similar last week on the show and I kind of revealed it.
Right.
My biggest insecurity always was my legs. And I tell you guys why. When I was younger, who hasn't fell off the bicycle? I have this scar
Right.
on my thigh, on the top of my thigh when I fell off of the bicycle. And I've always worn pat suits the entire show. Like I would have to be covered from head to toe. Now I didn't mind showing off the shoulders or anything, but legs had to be pants. Now I've gotten to a point in my life where I feel comfortable enough to wear dresses that have the back all out, and you guys get shocked from it because you would never see that
Right.
side of me. I will always be covered. But now it's sort of like shelling out and unveiling a new you. And my thing is this:
Right.
embrace it, and be confident about it. And I've learned to be confident with it. I said it's a part of me, it's a part of my childhood. So
Right.
who doesn't have a scar that they won't
Of
embrace?
course.
And I've learned to just throw it off.
Right.
Confidence is the key thing. It's what I want
It's the
people
same
to
thing.
understand.
Yes, it's the same thing. If even if you don't have any physical scars, you can have something deep, deep rooted
Yeah.
mentally or what have you, or emotional. It's how you embrace it, and it's not easy. But again, I think we're fortunate that we're in a particular field that we can embrace it in so many different ways. Again, me coming out with a book, me talking about it, me wanting to write a book, embracing it. Me posing nude. That's a form of therapy. People don't understand that. I feel as though it's therapy for me. When we sit up there, it takes a lot. It's not easy, you know. Especially when you meet a person that you've never met before, you go to the studio, you go to the house, stuff like that. You don't. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, anything can happen. This is life. You know what I'm saying? This is America. But anything can happen in general, and to strip down, it's not an easy thing, regardless of how if you have a chiseled body or whatever. To me, that's irregardless. At the end of the day, it takes a lot of character, and it takes a lot of mental strength to be able to do that, especially when you do it with someone that you've never met before at all. So, I've done that. I wouldn't even I can't even count how many times I did it last week. I'm doing it again next week. You know what I'm saying? So but I know I'm at a point in my life, and especially like in my modeling journey, that this is what I do. So I know how to handle it. It's nothing to me. It's sort of like waking up in the morning and using the bathroom. Seriously, like it's every day for me. So, but it still takes a lot of intent and a lot of power mentally to be able to do something like that. And people don't understand that. They just think, oh, you're doing this for that this that and the third because you want people to look at you. Well, I'll be lying to say no. Of course, that's what we, duh. But at the end of the day, but it's also more than it's not just that. Yes, I want people to look at me. Yes, yes. But I went through a lot of shit that something. This is my way of. I feel liberated, and I want to embrace it. I want to embrace my body
Right.
now, whereas before I wanted to suppress it. Now I want to embrace it, so I'm taking it to another level. People don't like it, don't have to look at it. And I'm not trying to be a dick or nothing like that, but that's just to me, that's just it's straight up, it's facts. You don't like it, don't look at it. If I don't like something, I don't look at it. There's many people I don't like, and I'm like, oh, nope, delete, block, whatever. That easy. What's the problem? I'm not gonna talk shit about them. You talk shit, that means you must there's a fun about them you like, obviously. You know what I'm saying? But again, this industry has blessed me in so many different ways, and I can't not see myself not doing what I do, and I'm only going to continue doing what I'm doing, and just take it into another level. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna stop when that person upstairs or whoever that is upstairs tells me you can't do it no more. That's when I'll stop.
Right.
But as of now, it's limitless because there's always another pocket I find. Even when I met this photographer, and he was an underwear designer, Mark Mark Marlin, and he put me. I was on the 47th Street billboard. I've never fathomed that in my life, never, ever, and I didn't even know going into it that was the whole focus. The focus is I was just going to have an underwear shoot in Central Park, and that's what I did. And then come to find out, oh well, would you want to shoot for a billboard, huh? Oh fuck yeah! Were you crazy? You know what I'm saying? So it's always fun and it's so limitless. You never know what can come out of it. I remember I don't know if we spoke about this before, but when I worked with a photographer, um, and I had to dress up as a female. It was called Feminizing the Masculine Man, and with Thomas Evans. And at first, of course, I said, yeah, I thought it would be dope. But when I got on set and actually had the wig and the nails and the makeup, I was like, I can't do this shit. And I'm a gay man, you know what I'm saying? But I'm not that. I'm a man, you know what I'm saying? So it hit me hard because And I never thought going into it that would happen, you know. But I sat there and I said, you know something, but I committed to this. I said yes so quickly for a reason. So, and I was, and now again, I'm raised when you commit to something, you do it. So I'm like, I'm not going to leave set. I'm not going to do this. And, you know, and the great thing about it is how Thomas handled it. He came up to me and he had a pep talk with me because he saw me struggling. He saw me mentally, just like, 'cause, you know, my wig was getting caught in my lipstick. I'm like, I don't know how these bitches do this shit. I kept scratching my thighs with the fingernails. Like I didn't know what to do. And I'm like, this is not like Dion when he's younger playing with a fucking Barbie doll. This is different. And on top of that, he was shooting some of RuPaul's drag queens from one of the seasons from Drag Race right after me. So I was the last model, and then after that he was going to shoot the drag queens. They decided to come early to set, so they were watching me, and I'm like, oh, even more pressure. Now I got the real drag queens up here, and I'm over here figuring getting lipstick caught in his in the wig. Like, what's going on? So and it was to the point where I really was. I felt like I was going to cry, and I'm not that emotional crier type dude, and I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And he had a nice pep talk with me. He said, listen, I chose you for a reason. I chose you because I think you're fucking beautiful, and I know you could do this. And you're a powerful man who can take my concept and you can bring it to reality. And I'm like, say no more. Let's do this. He goes, what do you need? I said, you got like a fan? He goes, you want a Beyonce fan? I said, let's do this. Put a fan on, put some music on, done. You know what I'm saying? And all of those, it was that simple. From me going through the whole process, which wasn't simple, and that conversation again, communication, you know, was very important. And you know, again, meeting people like that, and you know, and I've met others who everyone I worked with, Kevin Hoover to so many just phenomenal. There's so many photographers of that, and if this is unreal that I've developed great relationships with and just respect their. Respect every photographer that I worked with. I respect their craft. I respect them as a human being because, you know, again, they're out here hustling just like I am. You know what I'm saying? And it's a dog eat dog world where there is one photographer, there's 25 others or 2,500 others writing back at them. Where there's one model, there's other Dions out there. You know what I'm saying? All trying to get the hustle on, all trying to make it out here in these hard streets. And I understand that. But at the end of the day, I always tell them, you know, the people that I've met, or even for the people that just started doing this, don't forget the passion. Don't let that passion go away. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
When it becomes a business, then that's when it can be a little hairy. You know, but have those in tune. But keep that passion there. Keep that love for what you do. Try to keep that if you can, because once that's gone, it's gone. It's gone, and it's hard to get back. So the love for what I do it's still there. It has not gone away, and that's why I do what I do because I fucking love it. I love sitting up here rocking out with my ass out. Yes, I do.
And James says, without you, there would be no beautiful pictures.
Ah, James, thank you so much. You're too kind. Thank you. God bless
And
you,
I
man.
tell to add on to what you just said, I tell people this all the time: live life through fire. If modeling or fashion or whatever it is your passion, you follow and pursue that passion.
Absolutely.
And I'm all about encouraging people to go for what it is that they desire.
I agree. I agree, and I will continue to go after what I, you know, for what I want. You know, I'm very aggressive, and I have a quiet aggression. I think. You know what I'm saying? Like when I want something, I don't. I'm not very. I'm not too vocal about it, and even in my presence,
Just go
I
for it.
like to
I'm the
move.
same way.
I like to move slow because I don't want everyone knowing what I'm doing. They're not supposed to know what you're doing. Only you're supposed to know what you're doing, and they'll find out when you do it. That's my mentality. You know what I'm saying? So I like to try to keep people assuming and guessing because I'm an Aquarius. I guess that's just my nature. You know what I'm saying? So I'm even the same at work. You know, coworkers be like, "So what's?" You'll see. That's it.
And I always try to prove I'm a Scorpio, so I guess I have the same mentality too.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
always do the unexpected when you don't even expect it coming
Absolutely.
silently, and that's how I would do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree.
So, any questions for myself or DeWitt? And I hope you guys are enjoying this conversation. With that being in the fashion industry and not just taking over with modeling, but encouraging your students as well to see the other aspect of it as well and what comes along with it. They need to be
Absolutely.
aware of these things that happen with models on set.
Mhm.
And you're going to get some no's, especially in the fashion industry. I've gotten no's. So
Oh
the
yeah.
thing is, you have to create and carve your own path and
Absolutely.
go for it. You have to come in with a into anybody who's going into the world of fashion, you have to have a thick skin because it is a cutthroat business. And so many people have been telling me for that. You're going to be in competition with other designers and so
Yeah,
much more. So
absolutely agree.
that's to anybody who's looking to get in this business. You have to have a thick skin and you have to know what you're going for and go for it aggressively. You cannot come in and not be vocal about what it is that you
Oh
want
yeah,
to do.
you can't listen. There's too many haters out there in this world. We all in competition with something, right? But you can't let your teammate. I mean, not, you know, even your teammate. You always leave them guessing. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're doing something like even with your best friend, if you both trying to do the same thing, you can't let everyone know. You can't even let that person that close to you know every intimate detail of what you're doing and how you're going to do it.
Funny.
Especially if they're doing the same thing you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's still a competition at the end of the day, and I love to compete. At the end of the day, I love to compete. You know what I'm saying? But I don't. I will leave you waiting as you're supposed to, and again, continue doing it because you love it, man. I mean, if you do it because it's you're trying to survive, I'm not saying not do it like that because we all got to do things in order to survive. You know what I'm saying? Been there, done that. But at the end of the day, it becomes harder when it becomes a job as opposed to it being something like, but I love it. I love, this is my passion in life. This is what drives me. Still have that. And also still keep it as a business if it's going to be a business. If it turns into a business, look what happened with OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? So things,
Prime example.
things have shifted in so many different ways, but love it because even I've seen many people's OnlyFans. I've seen many people who were not in porn yesterday, and all of a sudden are in porn, and it looks like it's a job. I don't buy into jobs. I wanted to look at it and not know that it's a job. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the whole fantasy about it. You're providing the fantasy. Once a person can see that it's not a fantasy, then that's when it becomes, yeah, you got to redirect.
And think of another
Damn
strategy.
right.
And the key to having that's the key to having longevity in this business. If one avenue doesn't work for you, you go
Right.
for the
Find
next
another.
avenue. And I've had to regroup and re-strategize and think of ways of doing other things as well too for this platform.
Absolutely.
Creative control. That's what it is. And that's to anybody who's out there, self-owned or going for whatever it is that their business goal or passion was.
I agree.
Definitely. Do we have any questions for myself or DeWitt? And I hope you guys are taking something away from this conversation as well, too, because a lot of people think that getting into the modeling business or becoming a model is just taking gorgeous photos, and it's just like, no, it's a lot more to it
Work.
behind the scenes. There's
Hmm.
a lot more to it.
And to stay, stay confident and stay aggressive. Again, it's a dog eat dog world, but you really have to. If this is an avenue that you want to take, don't let no one knock that dream out of your head. Because if again, I always, to have a dream of doing something and you never thought that it can happen because I kept self doubting myself, and to starting it and again having being able to continue doing what I'm doing for this longer time, I can attest to that. So it's damn sure possible. Trust me.
James B says, thank you both for a very informative afternoon. You are so welcome, James, and I hope
Thank
you
you so much.
guys have all took something away from this conversation.
Absolutely.
It's been longly awaited, and I told Dee that we was gonna have a great time, and I did. That
Thank
I
you.
did, and I wasn't expecting him to drop these many gems of what he's been up to now in our second interview. So this is our second interview. The first one is up, so make sure you guys go and check that one out. We talked a lot in depth on body confidence. Body positivity is a thing now in 2023. Back in the day, there wasn't really a term for it,
Right.
but now it's called body positivity. And we're seeing so many influencers out here that are body positive. And I can give you an example of one, Lizzo. Lizzo is very body positive. I love her. I think that she's incredible. And there's so many models out here that are conscious about embracing what God has given them, their curves, and just
Mhm.
being natural in their natural state. So that's to anybody out here who's struggling with body issues.
Right.
And that's my first time ever kind of being transparent about it on my platform. I have kind of been in the past, but not really in depth on my health and, body issues and things that I'm insecure about. So Dee brought that out of me in this interview because normally I would be so private and keep it to myself because I don't want people to be like, okay, I'm speculating, this is going on with her. Why didn't she say anything?
Right.
Because I know who people are. And this, yeah. And so that's to anybody out there. Love what God has given you. When you look in the mirror, I was flipping through Cosmopolitan today, and there's an ad. I don't know if you guys remember, and it says spend 10 minutes in the nude. So they were advertising rain bath, and it says spend 10 minutes in the nude. So just embrace what God has given you first thing
Got
when
that
you
right.
wake up in the morning, and that's what I do. I even took in my lipstick and went as far as to writing on my mirror little words of affirmations that keep me going.
That's phenomenal.
Like believe is one of them, and beautiful is one of them. You have to reassure that the confidence and the beauty is within you. And as far as embracing your sensuality, I think I've got that all down pat. Because
Okay.
before, you would never, you would never see me wear the outfits that I'm wearing now. Before, I would always be covered up, and they're just like, why is she always covered up in black? Black was the color that I would always wear, but now I've gotten more colorful, and I've realized there's so many aspects and facets to life. So you see a more brighter, vibrant, more lively person than before I was when I started season one, season two of this platform. I would always be covered, suited up.
Right. No more. No mas.
Absolutely. So
But I
now
thank
just
you. I
go
thank
ahead.
you
I'm
so much.
sorry.
No, no, I said I thank you so much for giving me again, allowing me to have this opportunity. Just to speak and it's. I thank everyone who tuned in. Guys are just freaking awesome, man. Anyone who takes any time out of their day just to listen is thank you. That's dope.
Great conversation, you guys. And make sure you let everyone know where they can follow you and check you out on your projects because I'm pretty sure we're going to be following the photography because you've been giving us these gorgeous photos that we
I
all
thank
love.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, well, again, I'm Instagram is like my main platform that I sort of it's like my motherboard. Because again, it's that's where I have my most followers. Yada yada yada. But it's D33WHITT. And on IG will allow you to um, uh, link up with me from on other platforms. I'm also on Twitter at DEEBX37. I mean, no, DEEBX. Yes. You can follow me there. I'm Dion Witter on Facebook. Facebook I normally use just for family and friends. I keep that pretty much simple. Work people are on it, blah blah blah. I really don't utilize it for any major modeling stuff at all. Instagram is like sort of like my go-to. So if you want to follow me, definitely Instagram. And like I said, I'm working on this book. Wish me luck. I definitely I started writing some pages like that. Again, I'm taking my time with this because this is something that's coming. This is something
And it's
hard for me to
perfect.
deal with, and I
It's
definitely want to make
perfect.
sure that if I'm going to put it out, I'm going to put it out the way in which I need to put it out. Which will be helpful for me and helpful for someone else. So, just give me time on that, but it's definitely coming out. It's definitely in the works, and yeah, being a brand ambassador for so many other brands and underwear brands, stuff like that. And again, tomorrow I may have another avenue that just may be opening up. So stay tuned. And then my agency, at some point, that's definitely gonna happen. But again, I think that's something where in which I want to wait until I'm definitely completely at a point where I'm like, something modeling has been great. It's allowed me X, Y, and Z. I'm good for now. Now this is my new path. This is my new avenue. I haven't reached that part yet, so but that's something that I definitely want to happen. So bear with me.
Artists, where do we go to check out the full interview? The interview will be uploaded on Style by Stevie Daytime, and you can check out the first interview that I did with Dee with, as well as this one, the second one. I will upload this one there, and you can check it here right here on IGTV. And of course, we have a clip from the interview. We will give you guys a clip from the interview, so you guys stay tuned for that, and you can watch it from beginning to end. Coming up next, joining me, we have another interview. Nathaniel Bryan Anderson will be joining me up next. All right, Fashion Dolls. And D Whitt, thank you for
Thank
taking
you.
the time to come back
Stevie,
to
thank
the
you so
dollhouse.
much. Thank you so much. You are phenomenal. You're a phenomenal woman. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
You
thank you
too, my love.
everyone else for joining. Thank you everyone for joining in. Hey Booze, I see you guys writing in the chat. Love you guys. Thank you so very much. Again, anyone who takes the time out of their day to listen to me blabber on and on and on, you guys rock. Thank you again. And Stevie,
They
you're
love
phenomenal. You
you
already know
so
how I
much.
feel about you. Thank you.
You too. We got to have you back. So we're going to set
Yes,
something up.
absolutely. Have a great one, guys. Thank you again.
You are so welcome. Take care, Fashion Dolls.